Talking Tuesday. It's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world. We gon' let you know how the business go on a brand new show. Talking Tuesday. Show you how to do it right.
Yo, welcome to Talking Tuesday, where you got real cannabis players talking real cannabis issues. You know what I'm saying? So we in the house. I got to my right, I got Marco and Ruvie. And over to my left, I got Keith in the house. So we about to jump right into it. You know, and we love to get comments, and so y'all need to chime in and comment in, you know, and we'll actually respond to y'all comments. This is the first time I'm going live because, you know, Instagram want to shadow ban me, you know, so I couldn't go live. But now I'm live, and so I can get down with the get down. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just holler at me, and if there's anything y'all want to know, hey, man, yes, I want to, bam, how do I tell my followers I'm live?
They just see it.
Okay.
They can see it. They gonna see it.
Okay, so anyway, let's jump right into it. So there's a couple of things I just wanted to touch bases on. And, you know, the industry is the industry. We know the industry is the industry, right? And we've been in the industry a long time, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And, you know, I know we've been out here, we've been talking, you know, about the real things in the industry because we real players at this.
Right.
So we talk about the real things in the industry based off of our experience in the industry.
Yeah.
But we gonna jump in and touch bases on some real things that we've done in the industry that was all to the good.
Yeah.
But before we jump into the all to the good stuff in the industry, I just want to talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about that Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? That you know, y'all know I'm a 49er fan, die hard, bang bang Niner gang. You know, live in effect. And I was rooting for the Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and to be honest with you, ain't neither one of them
Your squad.
my squad
Yeah.
that I really dig. But I did want to see Saquon. You know, I was rooting for Saquon and I was rooting for Jalen Hurts because they was hating on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Have been hating on that dude, you know, and I like where there was this one reel where they went back to show how they kept saying, oh, Jalen Hurts ain't the one. He not going to take them and win a Super Bowl. He not going to do this. He not going to do that.
Oh yeah, that's the Nike commercial.
And look here.
Yeah.
You know, now the brother did everything that everybody said he wasn't going to do. But I'm going to tell you, I watched that game I did not get up off that game. I watched it from start to finish. People may have left because they said it was a blowout. I enjoyed that blowout.
You enjoyed seeing the blowout.
I enjoyed seeing that blowout. But the killing part about it is Jalen Hurts did everything a quarterback should have done.
Yeah.
Like everything. I'm talking about Jalen Hurts had, in my mind, a near perfect game. Regardless of that pick, a near perfect game. That dude ran the ball. That dude threw deep balls. He threw the shallow balls.
Yeah.
And he made smart decisions in that. Knew when to step up. Knew when to flush out the pocket. Like that dude played to me a near perfect game.
Yeah.
Other than that pick, to me, he played the perfect game. And they had old boy flustered. That was your boy.
Yeah.
They had your boy. Hey man, let me tell you something. That dude did not look the same when that line came after him. He was not comfortable in the pocket.
But from the very first play, like they had him on the run. I think that one throw that he threw to Isaiah Worthy was the only one time that he actually had time in the pocket.
Other than that, he was rushed.
He was under distress.
Yeah.
But listen.
But the halftime.
Yeah, let's
talk about the halftime. Like,
Kendrick.
Let me tell you something, man. That dude that dude continues to light the internet up every time he does something. He lit it up when he came out with not like, you know, not they ain't what
Not
is
like
it?
us.
They not like us. And then he lit it up on this halftime. there was a lot of people that didn't even understand the subliminals in that. They did not even understand the message, you know, and there was so many deep messages. You know, they talked about his bell bottoms that he wore, you know, and the fact that bell bottoms was worn in the 70s as a rebellion against the system. You know what I'm saying? So there were so many different subliminals that he had. His jacket that he had on, you know what I'm saying? And what it said on the front. Like so many different subliminals, like the car he was standing on.
The GNX.
Exactly.
The year he was born,
Come on, man. You know, all of this stuff, like.
But what about the first line? He said the revolution will be televised. Like
because it's usually not.
You guys.
Well, that was Gil Scott. You got to remember that was Gil Scott Heron who said the revolution will not be televised. If you know the history of Gil Scott Heron, you got to go back. And I'm not even going to tell y'all the history because y'all got to be like me and know your history. Yeah. Go back and research Gil Scott Heron. You know what I'm saying? And he talks about it. He has actually a lot of footage talking about the revolution will not be televised and why. So I ain't going to spoil it for y'all. Go back and research for yourself. You know, but there's a lot of different messages. And even they had my boy Samuel. Boy, I swear, when he came out, I said, oh, my God, they got the perfect brother to do this. You know what I'm saying? Samuel L. Jackson, the brother deep in every form.
You know why a lot of people missed all those messages is because people don't know the real history, which was what made it, I think, phenomenal that he did it because so many people were tuned in and watching that he at least planted the seed in their head, which is by far bigger than anything, you know?
Well, the other thing you got to remember, Donald Trump was there.
So in his face.
Literally, when Samuel Jackson was saying, now you know how to play the game. And then you think about it, the next song was Be Humble. So then, you know, he went into that. But then once the whole performance ended, you remember what it said? Game over. And like literally as an artist, for you to be able to play regular music that we all were entertained from, but have messages in the, you know, like the setup. He said that the red and the blue was the Crips and Bloods fighting against each other, but he brought them together and he stood in the middle like the American flag. And basically what he's saying is that America was built on blacks' backs. And now we have an opportunity to build an America that includes us, but it takes unity for that to happen. And, you know, listen, I said this back when the Drake and Kendrick controversy was going on. If you remember, K-Dot always said, listen, he was like, I had family members to die from this right here. And what I'm not fit to let you do is entertain people and cause lives out of our community. To me, what Kendrick has brought to music, and I think Farrakhan said the same thing, it's a level of consciousness to say that we created this and we also have the control to say which direction it goes in.
But you got to remember that in our history, we go through a level of consciousness every so many decades, right? You got to think about it. We went through the level of consciousness back in the 60s, right? And through the 70s, that level of consciousness. When was the next level of consciousness? Through the 90s. Right? You see what I'm saying? You had Public Enemy. You had Poor Righteous Teachers. Farrakhan was out preaching. You know, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You had everybody. It was now turning to that level of consciousness. Now we here in 2025, and guess what? You now starting to see every time you either scroll on the internet or you hear something or see something going on, it's a different level of consciousness that has turned on once again as a people. The thing that we have to remember to do is to keep that level of consciousness going and don't allow the powers to be in the system to shut that down like they do every time, like they did in the 90s when the rap music was becoming that level of consciousness, right? And then all of a sudden what you have is you have now them putting in the shoot 'em up, kill 'em up, dope dealing, booty shaking, you know, I'm going to swing my chain, I'm going to do this, you know what I'm saying?
That's
all
like
the negative
mainstream
rap that overtook that conscious rap. You know, and I believe we have to pay attention to how every time history starts to strengthen for us, or our unity starts to strengthen, there is always a plan that is set to weaken that or divide that.
Yeah.
You know what I think that plan is too? Giving us crumbs, because like it's almost like when we said that one time about people want to pray to God when things are bad, but they don't pray to him when things are good. Well, we seem to come together when it's more of like a crisis time period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because their life gets sweet sometimes.
Wait.
And when life is really sweet, that's when we least talk about consciousness.
Well, I'm gonna give you a statement that Muda Baruka said, and Muda Baruka is a reggae artist, originally from Africa, but he's a reggae artist. And Muda Baruka said, "We care not because we are well paid."
Boom.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so what happens is they throw money out there, and you start to not care.
Not care.
See, and there's certain people they throw money to, and when they throw money to, you start to back away from the important issues because your money is more important than the issue at hand.
Exactly.
It's when you could turn away from that dollar and say, to hell with that dollar, I'm still going to stand for what I stand for.
Right.
Because as they say, you either stand for something
Or you
fall for anything.
Yep.
And that's the true essence of what we need to continue to do.
So the one thing I want to add to that is I actually, and I said this a couple episodes ago about like this is happening at the right time. If you look right now, they say black men are represented the less in the labor workforce. And this is from a 2022-23 study. So if you go back and you think about 67, 68, when King and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were living, you had more independent small businesses that were funding those guys and allowing them to, move their platform forward. Whereas today you got more people that work for corporations and might be stifled from being able to either spend money that way or even be represented that way.
Okay, so name the number one thing that stopped that caused that not to be. What was the number one thing that stopped black businesses from flourishing?
Unions. Like basically going into the workforce and belonging to a union.
Integration.
Segregation was a benefit.
Integration was a benefit. Integration was a benefit to white America. Integration wasn't a benefit for us because we took our money now out of the neighborhood and we spent it with the Louis Vuittons and the Gucci's that don't represent us as the community. You understand what I'm saying? So what you see. You'll see a pocket of people who stay in their community, and I don't mean stay in their community. I'm just saying the dollars that circulate in their community.
6 to 7 times.
They represent that, right? Versus us who takes our dollar straight out of the community. Soon as that check is cashed, soon as that direct deposit is made, we go straight out of the community to go spend that dollar. Not once do we stop by a business that represents us and go spend a few dollars there. We pass all right by them, and we look for that one. Oh, yeah, let me go over there. Oh, Tommy Hilfiger right there. Let me go spend that dollar. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Louis over there. Let me go spend that dollar. You see these people representing more of the name brands of somebody that don't represent them.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we now have evolved enough where we could create our own brands.
Yeah.
I don't wear nothing but CC.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
When you see me, I got a CC something on because why? That represents me.
Yeah.
That represents what we do here in the cannabis industry. That represents what I've always done in the cannabis industry. And so I kind of feel like Run DMC. I don't want to wear nobody's name on my behind. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to wear my brand on my behind. And then you have those other brands that exist out there that we should support. The same way in the cannabis industry. Yeah. How many brands are really representing us in the cannabis industry, right?
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that every brand on my shelf should be a black or a Latino brand, but I am saying we should have some form of representation in this cannabis industry, right? So it's up to us to create that and put it out there. We are the true creators of this, of everything, pretty much when you think about it. We are the trendsetters. So why are we not setting the trend now? Why is somebody setting the trend for us, and then you got all these Uncle Bucks following somebody else setting the trend when we've always set the trend? You know what I'm saying? You think about how they made these particular dances cool. Like, there were dances that I used to go to a party, like a house party back in the day. The only people that was doing either the sea walk or any type of gang walk or throwing up gang sign was gang members.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. Now that's commercialized now. You see what I'm saying? So who's setting the trend? Really? You know what I'm saying? Now they got the rags all on the jackets and the shirts. It's not even about gang banging anymore.
But-
That's now a trend.
So I want to step in right
So
there.
I'm just saying how we represent culture and what culture should look like and where it's going, how they wore their jeans. Remember when they had a Calvin Klein billboard like in Times Square where dude was sagging his pants so his drawers was showing the Calvin Klein? Man, who did that? That was us who did the sagging of the pants. Not that I liked it. I couldn't stand it. But the point I'm trying to make is that we set the trends enough
do
that they
for
had a
everything.
billboard in Times Square with a white boy sagging his pants and with some Calvin Klein drawers on. Come on, man. We set trends, and we got to continue to set trends. But I also want to jump into one thing before we jump into, because this was something that I thought about. And this is industry, right? Who the hell thought of first-time patient deals? I just got to talk about that.
I think it was a
Because-
to 15 days.
The
definitely.
first-time patient deals, and I understand that. But let's talk about today's market, right? Today we in a heavily regulated market, heavily taxed market,
Yeah.
heavily licensed market, right? And so people coming in, first-time patient deals. And so I've eliminated that all to go because there's no benefit in first-time patient deal. I don't care what nobody say in the industry. There is no benefit in first-time patient deals because I had one dude tell me, oh, man, I just go around to all the shops to see what I can get for free on a first-time patient deal.
That's what people used to do back
what
in the
people did.
Prop
That's
That's
what
15
people
days.
still
Yeah.
kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to the shop to get. That's not no customer loyalty because you're not coming to me because I have a quality product that you are seeking out, right? You go to places because they have a quality product,
Yeah.
right? Like in the city of Compton, they got what they call Miracle Market. And if any of y'all from Compton, y'all know what I'm talking about. Miracle Market had the meat that we used to go to right there by the airport on Wilmington and Compton Boulevard. That's where you go get, they had the best cut meat in Compton and pastrami and all that good stuff. So you would go to certain places because they had the quality of things that you wanted or that you knew to go out and search for, right? So that's how I feel in the cannabis industry. I have a quality of product that is whipping a whole lot of these cats' tail. So why should I cheapen myself, my brand? Because when did you ever go to let's say, when did you ever go to Chili's for the first time and say, oh, can I get half off this plate for my first time Chili's deal?
Never.
Or
That's something you only see in the cannabis space.
But you
But we
see what I'm
started that
saying?
way.
Yeah,
But
we
hold
did
on,
start it in the
because
Prop 215 days.
One of the reasons why you have patient appreciation is because you can't market.
Yeah.
So that is your marketing cost that you passing across to the customer. And
There's a
but
difference
hold on, I
between
agree
a
with
patient
you 100%
appreciation,
that
though.
there's no loyalty in
I'll
it,
tell
but-
you. I'll tell you my reasoning for it because I see a benefit to it, and really the benefit I see is not so much. It really, to me, the benefit comes down to what you as the establishment does with that person once they step in your door. It's a conversion thing.
Right.
It's more so.
give me your
It's
sales
more
number.
so. I'm getting these amount of people, and then it's my duty as my store, my bud tenders, to win that person over. They're not loyal. Hardly anyone is. Your best friend's not loyal. No one's loyal. But what you're hoping to do is that if you get 100 of those people who came in for that deal, you convert 10 of them into legitimate customers.
Yep.
It's really just a numbers game. It's just to bring people in to then hopefully your bud tenders can win them over with your product, your quality, your service, your everything else.
Yeah.
But that's really all it is. It's not
Okay, so
it's more
it's
so
an
that type
and
of
I get that part,
It's an
right?
opportunity.
But how many of those people? Because you got to look at what our market is today. Let me ask you this question: Is the overwhelming majority of our market seeking quality, or is the overwhelming majority of our market seeking price point?
price point.
So they don't give a shit about quality.
Yeah, price
so
point.
it's not about winning somebody over as far as your quality of your product, right? Because you got a different consumer here. You got I hate to say it, you got a dumbass
Yeah,
consumer
yeah.
in this
But the-
market
but-
today because there is no product knowledge coming from the people behind the counter.
But that's
The biggest thing that like in when people come to California Cannabis, 3 locations in the city of Los Angeles, come check us out. But when people come to California Cannabis, they understand that the product specialists behind the counter, not bud tenders, because we don't have bud tenders. I'm the one who created the term product specialist because bud tenders is a days old. We just don't have bud. We have topical tinctures, edibles, the whole 9. So product specialists are there to educate that person on the other side of the counter when they walk through the door. The same way when you walk into a place and you ask somebody, say you're going to get makeup or you're going to get perfume or you're going to maybe get your hair, whatever. You ask that person that's that professional behind that counter or even that mechanic, or when you go buy some tires, what are the best tires for my car? What is the best thing I can do for my vehicle, right? What are the best sounds? When you go as a consumer anywhere, you're looking for the best for less. That is the name of the game. You're looking for the best for less. But that person behind the counter has to educate you on what you're getting. We have a pre-roll, right? A 5-pack pre-roll. And you remember that multi-pack pre-roll that I created. It gives you the hybrid, indica, sativa, the CCOG, and then the mystery strain. The fact that I've taught my product specialists to explain that to people, they're like, damn, I get 5 in 1 different, and I could try them all out to see which one I like best. Then I can come back and buy the full pack if I like the hybrid, the indica, or the sativa, or the CCOG. You see what I'm saying? It's having that professional knowledge in the industry of what you do, to me, is how you retain people, how you treat people.
Right, it's right there. You just said it.
But we know. Go ahead, Ruvie.
So that I think that's the opportunity, because I can put myself in the consumer and behind the desk, right? Because I work in the industry and I'm also a consumer, a heavy consumer. I think it's an opportunity for you to win that customer over, because we're in the industry that's so saturated, and you got to remember we're still going up against the black market. So people are looking for that, because there is a lot of uneducated people, but for me, as someone that works in the industry, I take it as an opportunity to educate and to win them over. So it matters how you have your staff trained, and if they're going to prioritize the consumer and they're going to educate and give them a good experience to want to come back. So
Now I'm gonna tell you something. What happened the other day happened to be in the Melrose location, right? And there were 2 people back to back that came into it. And let me tell y'all, the cannabis industry is a great industry. You just got to know what you're doing in the cannabis industry
100%.
in order to be successful. You have to really understand the consumer part of it. You have to understand the cultural part of it, and you have to understand the business part of it, all combined in one. You cannot have one without the other. That's like me and Keith was going in a debate. You cannot have cannabis molecular structure without THC, CBD, and the rest of the
100%,
cannabinoid components, right? It just doesn't exist without one without the other. The same way with our industry. You have to have culture. You have to have product. You have to have all of the things, education combined in one, to make that complete one. The reason why I kind of buck back a little bit at first time patient situation, people came in the other day at Melrose and they said, oh, this is our first time coming through. And this was like 2 different people that didn't know each other back to back. So my question is always, how did you hear about us? Oh, we Googled you. And I said, okay, young lady, you Googled, but there are multiple stores that pop up. Why did you choose us? Right? Because when you Google, cannabis stores in LA, you get a plethora of stores that pop up. But I wanted to know why she chose us specifically. She said, one, your reviews. And you remember how big you and I were on reviews. Huge. Like, one, your reviews were good. And what else did she say was one? Oh, and the name. California Cannabis. She had to see what that was all about, right? The other girl said, I Googled you, just happened to be at the hospital down the street, and you were the closest thing, and I came to see you. Yeah. But in my mind, I remembered there's another store around the corner she had to pass to get to me. So the thing is that I've learned, and I'm learning more about this so-called first-time patient situation. People don't even come in there looking for that anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's where, as the retailer, we have to know that, though. As a retailer, we have to know that if someone saw the advertisement and asked for it, then you honor it. But if someone comes through the door that didn't have an idea, you don't have to say it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's a balance between someone seeing, because we are paying for marketing dollars. So our marketing dollars are saying some of these languages. So with that, if someone says something, okay, cool. But if people don't say nothing, if you didn't see the ad, you didn't see the Weedmaps, you didn't see the ad that says FTP, then hey, I just serve you like regular, But if someone comes through the door and can show you, oh, I saw this on the weed, or I saw this on et cetera, then hey, that's how you honor it. But it is like a balance.
But that's the very reason.
I see that one just a little bit differently, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. What you said earlier, if you're trying to stack your sales funnel and you trying to basically create a loyal customer, what I want to do is a quick pro quo with you. Hey, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna honor a first time deal with you, but let me get your email and your phone number so I can let you know about deals that are coming up. And what happens is now over time I get to know this customer and how I can really serve him. In that first interaction,
you're not gonna get that.
You're not gonna get that.
No,
you literally
definitely.
All we can do in that first interaction is a quick pro quo. You give me your information, I'm gonna give you this deal, and let's create. It's like dating
and educate people. I think the thing is to educate people in the process.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And so what we do is we have 7 days worth of deals that we do every day of the week. Yeah. We also have a punch card. So I feel your first time patient deal, so to speak, because most people that come in and say, well, what do I get for being a first time patient? Well, are you a patient? Where's your medical card? Oh, I'm not a patient. Oh, okay. So you asking? See, this is the lack of education in the industry. Yeah. Because you asking for a first-time patient deal and you ain't even a patient. Yeah. You just a regular customer.
Yeah.
You see
that's
what
why
I'm
they
saying?
changed the language to FTC.
Yeah.
First-time customer. Because patient was our time.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're no longer a patient.
But we as an industry don't know how to pivot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I pivot from bud tenders to product specialists.
Yeah.
Because it's all about pivoting. But we've always been about education in our locations to make sure that people understand what they're getting and why they're getting it. But the loyalty, like I say, with our loyalty card, we give you a punch card. You come in there, you buy that item, boop, you get a punch. Once your punch is over with, you bring that card back, and that card is cash now. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So these are my ways of luring people in. Because one thing as a owner and an operator, although you love your employees and you cherish them and you want them to do well, they're not always going to hit that mark for you. No. So you have to put in things that are almost what I call default mechanisms, right? That'll do it for you. So if you have a card here, or if you have the banners that I have on the wall where people can walk in, or in Melrose, when you drive straight up in the driveway, it's hitting you all in the face. Our 7 deals that stay plastered on that wall all day, every day, and we don't never take it down. So that I don't have to rely now on my employees to tell them. They'll say, hey, man, I saw on Wednesday it's blah, 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 right? You know what I'm saying? And so what I try to do is make it so simple for my employees to not have to think about everything, right? You kind of got to dumb some things down for people to make sure that, all of your goals as an owner is met in the industry, so you can be a successful owner in the cannabis industry. And I just believe these are some of the methods that I used, and that's why people used Weedmaps when Weedmaps was popular. And I don't know if you guys know, Weedmaps is no longer popular. Google is killing Weedmaps by 85% killing Weedmaps, because people don't go to Weedmaps anymore. People Google dispensary near me. The same way they say chicken and waffles near me, barbecue near me, fish and chips near me. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that anymore. Of that, you know what I'm saying? So
what's interesting to me is that they all work. That's just my philosophy. I feel like if you can do it all, you got to do it all, because this game is all about doing it all. Like if you could do it all, do it all. If you got to exempt some things, cool. But the number one thing over everything that I see from success, from being in stores my entire life, is just experience, the experience that the customer gets. That's what we've lost, is the experience. For me, as a person that's coached and taught product specialists, bud tenders back in the day, I'm very serious about my philosophy. And my philosophy is I overly inform people, because I want more people like me. I want to know that if I'm not there, everyone could do everything. I'm all about if there's a captain on the ship and for some reason he dies, and the dude who was sailing, he got to be able to get back on that thing too. Like, I don't like my ship to not, everybody don't got to be the best, but on that ship, everybody got to know how to do everything, because you never know when someone's going to fall off, and somebody got to come through and help even a little. But my whole thing as well that I always implement, that I used to tell people, and this is how I use it. I tell people, every bud tender I've ever worked with, the product specialist, we are the superstars. So I treat a dispensary like a stage. The more I could make my peers next to me the acts, it's like when you go to a concert, there's an opening act, there might be 5 acts, and then finally the main act that you came to see. But that 30,000 attendance at that stadium is a combination of all the acts. Even though the main act might have brought 15,000, the rest of the 15,000 people might have been divided by the rest of the acts. So the more I could turn my product specialists into the stars on that stage, then I know that they're constantly bringing in attendance. The key is to have such amazing superstars that they're bringing. Same thing like an athlete in a sport. If LeBron's not playing that night, the people who came in to view are pissed off because we're viewing it for him. So the more you got all-stars and the more you create all-stars, they come with attendance. They themselves come with attendance. They themselves got 50 people loyal, 25 people loyal, 30 people loyal. That dude got 100 people loyal. And now you got a crew of people who they're their own stars. Somebody's coming from 8 to 10 to see that guy. Somebody's coming from 1 to 6 to see this one. You gotta have them. We stack them up like a concert. That's how I've always very implemented my people, is treat it like a concert. That's the opening act. Still brought out of a 30,000 attendance, still brought 5,000. 5,000 people still came for the guy who started the show.
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying?
100%, because the industry is so saturated and you're still going against the black market. When your bud tender or product specialist is interacting, that relationship that they're building is so vital, because that one person can bring you 10 more other people.
Absolutely.
And with so many other places that they can go to, it matters how. That's why I always take it big in any place that I go to. Treat your people well, because if your bud tenders or your employees overall are happy working there, your customers are going to see that, and that's what makes them come back.
Now the killing part about what she just said and what you just said, right, with that, is that the Google, and I've done the research, so this is factual. Google is number 1 on the list. Second on the list is word of mouth.
Period.
Exactly.
So what you just said, what you just said, word of mouth is second on the list,
and it's very high.
And
second.
so drive-by was third on the list. Now, this is why I don't even advertise on Weedmaps anymore. I don't, man. That $2,000 that I was paying, or $3,000 I was paying every month, I keep that in my pocket now. Because that was $2,000 to $3,000 every store. You see what I'm saying? And I saw no value in it when I put that at my front desk, to show that showing how people heard about us, right? Google was number one. Word of mouth, a friend. A friend told them, drive by, and then Yelp, and then Weedmaps was way there at the bottom, right? So for me to understand the value in something, it has to make dollars and have to make sense, right? And at that point, you trying to trim the fat. You got to trim the fat on what's not really producing for you. And so Weedmap wants you to spend 10 and 15 and 30 and $40,000 for it to produce. When you really think about that, you only making that money back. You're not really making a profit past that 30-40,000 that you spend.
But the
if you
biggest
did
problem with Weedmap versus your SEO is Weedmap is a pay to play. Like
it's always been pay to play.
I could spend $100,000 and have my PR ranking and everything up.
Like I know a delivery service making $15K a day off of because of how they utilize Weedmaps. And just since we're talking numbers and stuff, and that's pretty high in this industry. And just as a regular little delivery out of the valley, like they're making $15K a day, but they're utilizing it their way. But it's about how you utilize it. Again, it just depends. But the people who get the most out of it are spending the most. But it's
exactly.
How you use
but
it.
what I guess,
and then when you buy a little of it, it really kind of doesn't benefit.
But I'm gonna tell you something. I guess what I'm saying is that in the respects of that, if people ain't using Weedmaps no more, where's the benefit in that? If Google is the number one search engine to find cannabis, then why I'm even gonna spend 15 grand over at Weedmaps when I don't have to spend a dime at Google? I just got a Google.
What
page.
it is this. It's what it is then I know this from just being in the stores. It's the people from out of state that you used to have to tell to download Weedmaps or to look up Weedmaps. Now those people don't have to be told that,
because
and they're the
Weedmaps
majority
is now,
on Google.
Exactly.
But us natives still use it. Us who have been using it still use it and know why to use it, because now what it's also become, it's more your blue check. It's the only thing that has a blue check. On Instagram, you get a blue check. On Facebook, you get a blue check. A blue check just means on OfferUp, I get a check. Just means verification. So now what Weedmaps has transformed into is the site of verification. Even if you're using all these other sites, Weedmaps is still verifying that this brand is legit. It's the only thing that is working in a sense with DCR. You know what I mean? Like, meaning like Weedmaps is still under the lens of DCR. Google technically isn't. Google could kind of do whatever it wants unless DCR really puts pressure. But DCR and Weedmaps are hand in hand, so they have to now cater to strictly licensed people. So on there, when you go on there, it's strictly licensed, and if a brand is on there and it has a check, it's legitimate. On Google and all these other things, even though you're seeing more viewerships and more people use it, it's still not the place to verify. But it's a California thing. Weedmaps is a California thing. If you want your California people that still use it, that's a California thing. Google is a world thing.
Exactly.
But here's the other advantage of using Google over Weedmaps. If you use SEO, search engine optimizer, you can literally optimize right on down to your menu. If I got biscotti or I got some type of rare strand, now I can code that in. And if you on Google and you like, hey, I want this strand right here, it's going to find it quicker on Google than it's going to find it on Weedmaps. But see, the benefit is, again, you got to pay to play, bro. You got to know how to use it. The people who use it, they put themselves in every region, even when you're not there. So you're paying. So even if, let's say, I'm based out of Woodland Hills, the ones that are winning, I'm going to put something in Rosemead. I'm going to put something in Pasadena. I'm going to put something in Covina. I'm going to put something in Compton. I'm going to put something in Santa Monica. I'm going to put something in Brentwood. That's how they play. See, we're regional. So if you're only going to stick to your own little, like to this little thing, that's cool. But the fools that do what they do with it, and I pay attention, they're just everywhere because they want everybody to see them. And that does take pay to play. But again, it's not necessary, because to me, the most necessary thing is still, even more than Google, is word of mouth. Because with everything else that we're talking about, the number one thing that gets skipped in this industry the most
is word of mouth. Why? Because customer service is not the same. Customer service is what brings word of mouth. There's hardly any word of mouth. If people had better customer service, that word of mouth would grow. But there's hardly any store that you could go in that the homies hype to bring in 10 homies these days.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was one of those, yo, Ruvie, you got to go to my spot. Yo, Ruvie's homegirl, you got to come to my spot.
Well,
Yo,
see,
Ruvie
that's some real back in the day, because when the spots was the spots, everybody know where to go.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, that was just like back in the street days, right?
Yep.
You knew if you was from the east side, you knew 99th and Main had the good weed.
Come to my
you
spot.
knew 47th and Broadway had the good weed.
Yep.
You know 7th Ave and 6th Ave in the 60s had the good weed.
Yep.
You knew where Corner Pocket in Compton had the good weed.
Yep.
Or you knew the Grandees had the good weed, or you know, Earthquake Sound. These were some of the places back in the day that people know, like you said, had the good weed. So let me ask this question: What can you highlight the most about the industry that you could just really sit back and think and say, man, you loved that you did in the industry? What you loved about this industry, and how is it still relevant today?
What I loved, that when I put myself in a product specialist position, because without that there is nothing, that's the person selling the product. What I've loved the most is all the human interactions that I had. I love humans. Like, I love people, for good and bad. I don't really care. Ugly, beautiful, evil, great. I don't care. Every human is unique. And you can learn from each. You can learn how never to do something and you shouldn't, or you can learn how you may want to do something. And I think what I've loved is all the different walk of lives that I've come across, you know, and the ability, you have the same skill, brother. That's why when we're back there, we killing it. The ability to just, that's the problem with the industry, is
people.
Accept everybody for who they are. You know,
Accurate.
the problem with the industry is rejection. Thinking you're better, thinking you're cooler, thinking you know more. Just not letting people be them, express themselves, learn what they want, cater to what they want. Just be
You made
at
that
service
connection
to a human.
Yeah, you made that connection,
You know what I'm saying?
that human connection.
That human connection. Be at service to the human. I think that's what makes some of us shine bright when we do what we do. Is because we embrace the human. The dollar comes with it. You best believe.
No doubt.
But it's the human. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made people come back to some of us, because what people forget about this game is that it's like a barber shop. It's like a salon. It's like a nail salon. It's like a therapist. People are going through shit, good or bad. People don't have some people to talk to. We're in California, a place where many people come that are alone. They don't know nobody. You're maybe the only friend that they met, even though they've been here for 5 years. They've been hermits in their home. You don't know what's going on with some of these human beings.
Absolutely.
To come across another human being that finally makes them feel human. That connection is deeper than anything. It doesn't matter who got the best price.
Right.
It don't matter who got what. I'm going to go smoke shitty weed just because I need to go see my dog. Or like I used to tell the people who work with me, people know if they rock with you as the human, they got another place that they got this product, because I don't carry it and I don't want to carry it. But in that person's pocket, there's $50 that day. They will still allocate at least $10 to just come and see you and find something to spend on, because really they came to see you.
And the cold part about it is, if they have $50 in their pocket and they come to see you, they liable to spend more, because you're able to be like we say, connect to that person. And the more you connect with somebody, that's you loosening dollars out of their pocket.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? And they gonna want to spend with you. And then they gonna tell their friends to spend with you. I like that dude up there. I like going to that shop. Every time I go to that shop, man, they cool as a fan. And so that's why they come to the shop. It's not always the shop that they come for.
No.
It's they come for the atmosphere, the energy, and the personality. Ruvie, tell us, what about the industry?
it's the same thing. It's that connection. It's that, like Bob Marley said, one love, right? Because every human being, we do have the endocannabinoid system. It's your opportunity to connect with another human being that might not have that education. And if you can make that experience something that they can think back and they're like, wow, this person said something that I didn't know, or she smiled, it makes a big difference. And like Marco said, if you can have that connection, it brings you longevity, it brings you loyalty, and they're gonna recommend you with their people, and that's what's gonna make you stand out. And that's what I love about the industry, that as someone that works in it and that gets to interact, you get to change someone's life by either just giving them a little bit of information or just smiling and being real. That's what we're missing in the industry, is just keeping it real. Not everyone is going to spend $100 that day, but if they spend 10 and then they come back 5 more times out of that week versus one time spending 50, you're winning more, So it's that interaction. So I make it big to just take advantage of that opportunity and connect with the consumer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Big
You
time.
know, I'm going to tell you, when I think back and kind of what makes me smile about being in the industry, what makes me happy about being in the industry, I met people I wouldn't have came across in this industry. I sat down and was working and dealing with people I would have never worked and dealt with if I wasn't in this industry. You know what I'm saying? Good, bad, and indifferent. I was in hoods I wouldn't even been in if I wasn't dealing in this industry. And even back in my street days, I was in every hood. I wouldn't have been up in the projects, you know what I'm saying, or any of them projects in Watts like that. But because Herb took me there, I'm in the Nickersons, I'm in the PJs, I'm in the Jordan Downs, you know what I'm saying? I'm now over in the jungles. I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm all in all these hoods, main streets, Broadways. I'm in all the hoods, making sure everybody good and have what they need. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have been in those places. I'm Can-Am Studio in Death Row. When Death Row was at its height. You know what I'm saying? Mixing and mingling. Other studios, the one over there in Echo Park that everybody used to go to. I can't remember the name of that studio, but it was Echo Sounds. I think it was Echo Sounds.
Okay.
Right there, Echo Sounds. But I'm in all those studios, all because of the herb. I'm in places that I wouldn't have been. I'm in Humboldt County. Come on now, I'm way from Compton.
That's why
in Linwood and Compton. And I got to holler at my Linwood folks, because y'all know Linwood, Compton, y'all know what it is. But you know what I'm saying? I'm coming from way there. We talking hundreds and hundreds of miles, well over 600 miles away from home, to be in the backwoods with all these hippies and rednecks. You know what I'm saying? And doing what I'm doing and vibing with the vibe. Like, I wouldn't have been there if Herb didn't take me there.
I think being pro cannabis is the biggest way to be a rebel, because you make a big difference. If people can understand that you're changing someone's life by educating them or by showing them how cannabis is going to better them, not just themselves, but look at how hemp helps the earth. So it's just overall something that connects us as human beings, and that's what the government has. That's why they spend so much demonizing cannabis, because it's the one thing that's going to connect so many people from different walks, and it's going to make you have a different perspective. It's that one plant that actually can save the world, not just because it's going to better our health, but it's less anger, and it's going to clear the air, the soil. So it's like,
and look, like this, one more thing. Like, it took me to Africa. Cannabis took me to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't if I wasn't involved in the cannabis industry. I'm not saying I wouldn't have gone back to the motherland, because that was one of my things that I was going to do before I leave off this earth. But it took me to Africa a lot sooner than I probably would have went on my own. So things like that, when I think about, like I say, that makes me sound, plus the hustle. The hustle. I love the hustle. The hustle is something, man, I got hyped off of. I was one of those dudes, man. I'm telling you. I wake up in the morning. when it came to the hustle, and those that really know me and know how the hustle was for me, I used to do this. I used to wake up in the morning, man, ready to go. Let's get it. You know, and so that excited me. Being in the industry excited me. Writing policy excited me. Being able to mix and mingle with the different people in the industry, coming together back in the old school days as a unit, rallying and you know, just making this a better industry and pushing the envelope forward. That's what I really loved about the industry. And meeting people. I wouldn't have met you guys. Now let's keep it real. I wouldn't have met you guys if it wasn't industry related. But let's go over here to Mr. Keith. Mr. Keith, you got to tell us what made you smile. What made you come into them? When you think about this industry, what do you love about this industry?
So for me, it was the closet smokers. You know, like I came from a professional setting, and you know, a lot of my colleagues, they smoke weed, but it wasn't something that was ever discussed in open. It was like one of those, you know, I know it, you know where you're gonna get it from. And you know, when you look at cannabis customers in a whole, a lot of them are introverts. So when you talk about like that professional setting, so software engineers, any type of science base where you got to do any type of internal thinking, this is like their refuge. You know, it was a way for them to escape. And, you know, my whole thing was like, I'm the youngest of 7, so I got brothers and sisters that smoke cannabis. I got colleagues that smoke cannabis, and it was like a way that I could connect with them without actually doing it. I didn't smoke cannabis till I was 45. And that was probably like a year before I moved here. But it was always something.
And now you're 46. Now you're 46.
Yeah.
No, I've been down here. I've been down here.
You should have just ran with it.
Been down 46. Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's like, I think what people miss about cannabis is it is a holistic way of living. And, you know, I recognize that people that use cannabis were conscious about like the foods they ate. You know, they were conscious about working out. They were conscious about keeping positive minded people in their circle. And it just made me think like, damn, how could this be a drug that's so bad when I know all of these people that have achieved all this greatness, but yet, you know, they using cannabis. So for me, it was just eye-opening to know that, you know, me being an introvert, that it was other people out there that were like me that had this secret that, you know, as I, you know, got to know them better, not only were they, you know, willing to share it with me, but it was like, hey, can you hook me up? And, you know, me just being the business person I am, it was like, absolutely. Because I drag raced in the hood. I used to drag race people for weed. So I had to do something with it. I had to create a customer base. So for me, it was being able to take care of the closet smoker, the one that was not going to go to the drug dealer to get it, or probably still wouldn't go into a dispensary right now today to get it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about cannabis, is that we all have a story that connects us. Like I say, I wouldn't even be in Southern Humboldt and wouldn't have what I have in Southern Humboldt, the relationships, the connections, the experience of being in Southern Humboldt. And Southern Humboldt is a beautiful place to be. You know, that for me, I could retire in Southern Humboldt and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have to be in LA when I retire, because I don't want to be in the hustle and bustle. You know, as I get older, I don't want to be stuck in traffic for 12 hours and stuff like that. But I think the eye-opener for me is when I went to see cannabis cultivation back in the day. I used to watch the people that were growing cannabis, and I used to watch the kids playing all around the plants. It wasn't like, oh no, get such and such from out of that weed, or away from that weed or anything like that. No, those kids were running through the garden and running through plants and stuff like that as kids, and it wasn't something that that was looked down or frowned upon. And so I love that free-spirited attitude and that freeness.
Yeah.
Cannabis, to me, I watched people live free, and it freed me. You know what I'm saying? And it frees the mind.
Yeah.
You know, and so as they say, if you free the mind, your ass will follow. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I just enjoyed the freeness of that in reference to the cannabis industry. And everything about it, for me, has been a great experience.
Yeah.
You know, of course, we could talk about regulations. We could talk about taxation. We can talk about some of the things that happen in the cannabis industry. But even through this, I think we fight through this because we still love what we do.
Big time.
And it still is edifying and gratifying for us to be in the cannabis industry and do the things that we do and influence not only other people in the country, but can you think of what California did? California didn't just influence the country, it influenced the world to legalize cannabis.
Yeah.
And how long has Jamaica and Rastas been singing about free the herb?
Yeah.
For a long
But
time.
look who actually freed the herb. We were that catalyst. We were that mechanism. We were that leader that people looked at us and said, look what California is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And we freed the herb. And then Denver follows. And then
Oregon.
I think Seattle and Oregon, one of those states followed.
Yeah.
And then Arizona. And then everybody had just started a snowball effects of what we've done in the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
Just think about how much influence and impact that we as California cannabis players have had on cannabis in the world. And now I implore all of you California cannabis and whatever state that you're in to influence this administration to legalize it on a federal level. Let's go on and knock this thing out the park in 2025. Let's get this administration by 2026 to go on and legalize this on a federal level. So that we can now start having write-offs and do all the great things that this industry can do. And then once that happens, then the person let me tell you something. They legalize cannabis. The one in the market that's going to win the most is the cultivator. Understand that. If you have cannabis cultivation or any experience in that, it is going to be needed come federal legalization. Why? Because now it's going to be opened up for us to distribute cannabis throughout the United States of America. When that happens, it's going to open us up to distribute throughout the world because as the U.S. goes, everybody follows.
Well, here's what's funny about this. So when you look at the German market right now, the German market is actually doing better than us. And it's because of all these stupid regulations that we continue to come up with. One of the things that I try to get people to focus on is regulation and compliance kills innovation. And you have to allow the market to flourish to a point where people are able to make a living wage. At that point, then you come in and you kind of like regulate. Like just think about the conversations that we have going on right now with cannabis. So we got Delta 8, Delta 10 that's
Delta
in what I call a race with THC, Delta 9. Then you got hemp-derived drinks. You got cannabis-derived drinks. So literally what has to happen is some clarity, right? And then once we get some type of clarity, I think that it's going to be literally from a low-dose cannabis all the way into a high-dose cannabis. Like, I don't think we should have CBD, hemp, and all these other categories. I think literally we should just call it what it is. Low dose, high dose.
You know, I think in regulations, which is crazy to me, right? Because they have, you know, you can only, 8.9 of concentrate, grams of concentrate.
Oh,
but
for recreational?
But we can't sell a 2-gram pen.
Really?
How does that even work? if I can have up to 8.9, and correct me if I'm wrong, if my math is not the right. You feel what I'm saying? Don't I still got some grammage to go?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
what happens.
So there are some crazy things that we have in this
ridiculous.
market. Like you can only sell 1 ounce per day. Like, come on now. If I'm live way in no man's land, I got to catch the bus out here. Say I stay way up in Bakersfield or wherever, and I got to drive down here for some real California cannabis. I'm not going to want to do that every day.
Yeah.
And that ounce ain't going to last me long enough. I need to get me a quarter pound, half a pound, or whatever so I can go on back to Bakersfield and I'll see you next month.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And have my medicine. They don't just give you one pill when you go to the pharmacist. They give you a bottle of pills that'll last you months and months and months at a time.
Yeah.
So you're not running back to the pharmacy, right? So there are so many things that are ridiculous, but it's up to us to change it. We have to come together as an industry.
Yeah.
Not just social equity people or not just people of color. We have to come together as an industry as a whole, the cannabis industry, period, in order for us to start pushing back on some of these unnecessary regulations and narratives. Now, what I want to jump into, because we getting ready to wind this thing on down, is fun fact.
Wait a minute, we ain't going into the 2 letters?
I wish we could go into the 2 letters. We're gonna have to bring that back for next time because it's about that time.
All right, fun fact, Marco.
So Marco, let's get.
we starting with me?
You want to
can
start
start.
with Keith?
You can start this
Yeah.
time. Remember last time?
All right,
Since
Ruvie, fun fact.
Since we were talking about, how it opens up your consciousness. So fun fact, our brain has the most cannabinoid receptors in our entire body. So I think that's why cannabis it's really good to use to de-stress, since stress is the #1 killer. You want to de-stress so you won't be, since you have the receptors in your mind, it's going to allow you to just de-stress. So just figure out your dosage and interact.
There it is, fun fact. We're going to go to Keith for the fun fact. Keith, fun fact.
So my fun fact is basically that all cannabis strands come from a sativa. And we got to stop telling people like this indica and hybrid, like the major plants of sativa is just different iterations of that sativa.
Right on. Fun fact. Y'all better believe it.
Well, mine's going to be short and sweet.
Marco.
Cannabis raises the heart rate after 3 hours.
Whoa. That's
I think that's what it. Let me hold up, man. I might be lying to y'all. Give me 1 second. I might be lying to y'all.
Because I thought it relaxed.
Cannabis raises the heart rate for up to 3 hours after smoking.
Up for 3 hours after smoking. Okay. Fun fact. So my fun fact on cannabis is that the United States of American flag was made out of hemp.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to throw this out to you. The Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. Fun fact. Best believe it. Well, we had a lot we really wanted to talk about, but we just kind of went off the cuff this time, just to bring a different flavor to the show. But next Tuesday, we got a lot for you. We also going to have a guest come on next Tuesday. But we have a lot of information we want to put out there to you guys. Like I always say, you guys hit us up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start going live since now I know that I'm not shadow banned anymore. And we're going to go at it live here on Token Tuesday. So until next Tuesday, I say, hey, y'all, peace out.
Token Tuesday, it's what we do. We just sit around, smoke a pound, and talk about what we do in the cannabis world. We gon' let you know how the business go on a brand new show. Token Tuesday, show you how to do it right. You need to see